Hello, everyone, and welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest. Justin, how you doing today, man?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. And go ahead and introduce yourself and the name of your business.
Yeah, my name is Justin Vajko, and the name of my business is Dialog Video Marketing.
Dialogue. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we understand that time is one of our most valuable resources. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a lot of time in the marketing field, essentially is what it is. I'll spare you the long story, but essentially went to school for graphic design, always had a mind for marketing, both the positioning, the mental part of it and the execution part of it. I love connecting people to each other. So marketing scratches that itch. Been in it for 15 years and essentially did a lot of different things for a lot of different people full-time in my career and then in my own business as well. If you name the marketing task, I've probably done it.
So you said graphic design, you were drawing things, creating things. Tell us a little bit about that history.
To design posters and websites.
Okay. Now, as we are building the foundation of who you are, share with us one of those old stories that you have of something that you created that did it big, that hit it off for you.
That's a great question. I mean, I've never been asked that question. What's a project that did it big for me? You know, something that I think of right away, it's not so much that it launched my career or anything, but it definitely set me on the path of realizing how to connect with people through a marketing medium. And that was writing. I used to write the long form sales letter asking for donations for a nonprofit I used to work for.
Okay.
So I was doing marketing for the task of these folks who were really good at understanding how to plead the cause for a good cause and share stories and things like that. And that is a skill I still use today. That was probably the most influential thing I ever did.
Awesome. Now, you said you've been in marketing for a while. You've done a bunch of things. What were you doing right before you decided to open up your business? Were you with another company? You're another entrepreneurial venture? What was that?
Yeah, my story is interesting. I launched in 2018 full-time, went in my own business, and it was a comedy of assumption errors, if you will. Like I thought there would be a business for me there, and there kind of was, but there really wasn't. And even though I'd been in marketing for a while, I still had to learn about how to market myself. It's very different marketing a $60-90 million business compared to marketing yourself. And so what happened was I thought I'd be doing, logos and websites, and I ended up, when you can't find enough of one kind of work, you start branching out, finding other kinds of work. And that was my story for the first few years of my business in Dialog.
Okay. Now, talking about it, tell us what you're doing now. Tell us a little bit about, those services that you're offering, those products. Tell us all about your client base and what you're looking for.
Yeah. So essentially, there was a moment 3 years ago now, because it's already 2025, where we had an opportunity, one of these random, can you do this for us? Yeah, sure, we can do that, And that moment was the moment I realized we have an opportunity here to do something completely different than we've done before, go all in on this. And that today, it's essentially what we do is video marketing, but we do it in a very specific way. So I'll tell you the story, how we got started with that and why that moment begot where we are today. We had a client broker in LA came to us and said, hey, we want to do video. We said, sure, we can do video. We've done video, plenty of video. We have a videographer on the team. We can come to you. It'll be 2 days, $12,000 plus travel. And he kind of balked at that price. And we came up with a new idea, which was, what if we did the video remotely? If this is just to interview you about your knowledge and extract that knowledge out of you and get it posted on your Instagram, let's just do that remotely using like a Zoom type platform. And we did that. We used his webcam. We asked him questions. He did so poorly, but we got through the session and we got the videos we wanted. We got the clips we wanted. These are short videos. And his team posted to his Instagram. Despite his poor performance, the poor lighting, his videos exploded on that platform. His average views went from 100 views on average to well between 1,000 and 5,000 views per video when he was in And that was the moment I realized there might be something here. Despite his poor performance, despite the bad lighting, and the resolution isn't the greatest because it's on Zoom and it's not that, it's with a webcam. Despite all
Mhm.
those things, there was a demand for what he was saying directly from him. Now, mind you, this is the exact same information people could have gotten from his website, from his corporate Instagram, but they wanted to hear from him as the founder of this brokerage in LA. And
Mhm.
that was the start of what we do now, Dialog Video Marketing. We went all in on it from that moment on.
Awesome, awesome. That's a magnificent story. Now, as you've been doing it for this time now, have you found a specific industry that works well? Tell us about what you would say your ideal client looks like.
Yeah, our ideal client is B2B because nobody
Mhm.
buys a $50,000 service without getting to know, like, and trust you first.
Yes,
And they're not going to
yes.
book a bazillion one-to-one calls with you. Nobody does that anymore. They might meet with you
Hmm.
once, but they're really going to be doing their vetting. I think I saw a stat, it was 80% of buyers in B2B pretty much make up their mind about whether they're going to do business with you before they ever book a call based on their research. Because guess what? You can. We have Google. We're in the age of AI, all these tools we have to research a company, the options. So a lot of B2B firms are spending all this money, time, and effort on the end of that sales cycle. When if they just put a little bit of effort into the front end of that sales cycle before the client even reaches them, which is to mean educate them with your video content, it's going to do
Hmm.
two things. It's going to make people thankful that they learn from you based off the content you share, assuming it's valuable. And secondly, it's going to help them build a preference for you specifically as a sales team, as a founder, as a leader within your company. Because again, people don't buy a service from an anonymous person. We want to get to know who we're buying from, whether it's software or a service. That's always how humans are. We want to know who we're buying from.
Makes sense. So you're helping to bridge that relationship gap is what you're doing. You're building a
Right.
bridge actually seems to connect each other. Now, as we talk about building bridges with businesses, talking about their business, not only are we trying to help you to find that ideal client, we want to help you to find those referral partners. I mean, those other industries that send you over business opportunities. Have you found doing your newer service industry
Yeah.
that sends you over more opportunities?
Yeah, totally. So we have a lot of our best partners are fractional CMOs and PR folks,
Okay.
because those are folks that really are in the trenches with their clients and they're seeing all this information being shared internally. And their job often is to get that out of their clients and out into the world if they're doing their jobs well. And so we can come in as a partner for them and literally schedule that time with their client, the sales team, the founder, whoever, an individual on the team, and ask them questions, get that content out of their brain on video, and then we get to work editing and writing and posting for them. So we become a huge value add to the work they're doing and helping them achieve their goals, whether it's PR or fractional CMO work. Sometimes marketing agencies, but the biggest ones are fractional CMOs and PR agencies.
Makes a lot of sense. And as we put the final brushstrokes on the framework and the picture about what you do and the services, that you're providing, can you share with us what an engagement looks like? Let's just say
Yeah.
Roderick wanted to go into that service. What does that look like for me?
If you were to hire us to do your video content, it would basically kick off with three different steps. Number one, getting to know you, your audience, things like that. Number two, we're going to schedule a session where we're going to test out the equipment that we had you buy, and we're going to help you set it up actually in a session because we don't want any of our clients, we don't expect any of our clients to know what they're doing with the
Right.
equipment. So we help our clients do that in session two. And then session three is the first of your monthly calls, which is where we're recording video, drawing that out of you, and with good deep questions, making you feel comfortable on video, and then you're done. Every month, you just repeat that process of that monthly call, and it's supposed to be fun. It's definitely easy. That's what all of
Yeah.
our clients tell us because it's just a conversation. And then guess what? You got a steady stream of video content going out on LinkedIn and other platforms.
And being the marketing professional that you are, length of time wise, what would you say is a good length of time
Yeah.
to see that marketing piece work? Is it 6 months, 12 months, 24 months? What would you say is a good
That's a
thing on
great
that?
question. I really like this question because it helps me answer it in a way that I want you to see what we do as a sales enhancement tool. So it's not designed to be an all-in-one tool. So what I mean by that is if you were to do just this, just video marketing, you might not see results really ever theoretically. You've got to be doing other things. But once you add this into the mix, you can start seeing results which sound like this. Hey, I've been seeing your videos. I love it, man. Or, wow, I really like your content. In the sales calls, you've already been booking, but now you're starting to hear that. That can happen the week after you start posting, honestly.
Okay.
The point of what we do is to be the best enhancer of what's already being done within a company in terms of sales and marketing. But as a standalone product, it depends on the other things you're doing for it to really excel as a tool. It's like, if you go eat a meal and then it's like the analogy I like to use is the healthy part of this complete breakfast. The cereal ads from the 90s. This is a part of a complete breakfast. Our product is like the cereal, but you still need the toast and the eggs and all those other things to really get a good meal out of your marketing and sales.
That makes a lot of sense, So I definitely appreciate you sharing that, because I want everyone to understand how you're helping them. And, you can get some results, but it's just not an instant thing. You got to let it do its thing,
It's like
within.
It's like SEO is another one people are familiar with. It's the long game. It's like, how are you going to stay at top of mind over time? You're not going to get any results after doing 5 videos. That's just not how video works. That's not how trust works, right?
Yes. So. Well, awesome. Definitely appreciate you sharing about the business and your journey. As we go into the next section of the show, I want to talk a little bit about some of those business skills that you have acquired and nurtured over time that has helped you to be successful, that maybe some of the entrepreneurs that are watching today can add to their mix and help them to be successful. Do you have a couple skills you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things I've learned in this business is that, if you do the basics really, really well, you're going to excel. You're going to excel better than any competitor, because so many people just aren't even doing the basics. So an example of that when it comes to creating content is consistency. Consistency. Everybody hears it all the time, right? Well, how do you stay consistent? Well, I found a really neat hack in many ways that I've actually talked about. I don't know if your listeners were hearing, but there's a really neat hack in the way we run our business that anyone can use, whether they do business with us or not. And that tip is, I call it the content buddy system. The content buddy system is this idea that if you're struggling to create content, the point is not that you're not creating content. You know more than enough to actually create the content you want for LinkedIn, for your blog, for video, whatever. And you're probably already sharing it. So why not take a time every month and book it with a colleague of yours or a partner you're trying to build a relationship, or a coworker. Ask each other questions about each other's businesses, what you're doing, record that session, and you'll have content for days. Now, the next session after, the next part of that, of course, is accountability to actually get that content out on LinkedIn. But at least in terms of getting out good ideas that are relevant, interesting, and that are probably extremely useful for your audience, because that's what makes for good content. If you use the content buddy system, you book that time every month or every other week with someone, you're going to find you have a lot of good things to say, because that's often the first challenge a lot of people have is like, I don't know, I'll just be saying the same thing all the time. I promise you won't. There's a lot of thinking you're doing. This is a chance for you to get it out there and then go on and turn that into content for LinkedIn. The other part of that, which is another hack I've learned, is I call it, it's not what I call it. I've heard it called the sawdust method. So the sawdust method is this idea that back in the 1800s, there were a lot of sawmills, and people were spending money getting rid of all the sawdust. After the planks were, sawn down, they're getting money. And then somebody one day thought, wait, why are we spending money getting rid of the sawdust? Can we make something from it and make money from it? And that's where you get all this compact board and other products like that we buy from stores like Lowe's today. And so if you apply that principle to a marketing problem, specifically a marketing content problem, all of a sudden, all of these lights start to go on, because you and I are sharing content all the time in our sales calls, in our team calls, in all sorts of one-to-one team settings or prospect settings. And the key is, how do you capture that and how do you turn that into content? Well, similar to the content buddy system, all you got to do is hit record. Right now, for example, I have my phone on to my right and I'm recording this session. I do that for every podcast I'm on. I do it for client calls. I do it for all sorts of meetings, because that way when I'm sharing something and I'm like, oh, that was a good thing, I should have remembered to talk about that, that's never going to be an issue. And it's ready for video, so I can even post it as a video after a little bit of editing from my editor. So whether you use the content buddy system and you're intentional about creating content, or use the sawdust method, which is to say you just record as you go and turn that into content. There really is no more excuse for not having ideas for content. The only challenge, of course, then is actually getting it out there and executing on it. And that's why, our agency realized pretty darn quick 2 years ago when we got into videos, we've got to also post this for our clients. Because fun fact, when we started this out, we weren't posting, and none of our clients were posting. We're doing it. So that's still always going to be a challenge. And the only solution to that is find a VA or work with a partner like us to get that stuff actually out there.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. I definitely appreciate you sharing those skills because, the content is a big part of that process now. It's a part of that big mixture that you have. And if you're not doing it properly, there are opportunities that you can miss out on. So thanks for sharing that, especially those entrepreneurs need to add that to their bag. Now, Justin, I definitely appreciate you sharing about your journey, your years in marketing, as well as some of the current things that you're doing. But we do want the people that are watching to know that Justin is a human. He is just not a marketing master over there. So Justin, let's just say your clients are coming along pretty good. You're adding them at a good clip, and time and money are not an issue at all. What is it that Justin would do with his time?
I would soak up every minute that I could with my 1-year-old daughter. We've got another one on the way, due August 2025. Don't know gender yet.
Yes.
And I got 3 other kids as well that are older. There's a 10-year gap between my 1-year-old and my next one, my 11-year-old. So time with the kids, going on adventures, traveling. I'm a huge fan of traveling. It's tough to do when you got a big family. It's a pretty big bill, but we'll get there. That's my dream, is we'll get there in a place where the business is in a place where I can step away more, and spend more time in, going on adventures with the family.
What's one of those destination spots that you have in mind that you want to try to let the kids see, and yourself? What's one of those spots?
Well, I actually spent the first 13 years of my life in France, and I'd love to show my kids what that was like, because I remember as a kid in France, you could throw a rock and hit a historical site. That's really, and I'm a huge history buff, thanks to my parents. They really instilled that in me. They were both themselves very interested in history, so they took me to all sorts of places in France that were interesting, with the beaches of Normandy, the southern coast, and the castles of the Loire Valley, and all these other places around Europe. And my kids have never experienced that. Being in Wisconsin, there's not much history that we know about here. There is, of course, Native American history, but it's all lost to the eons of time. So I would love to show them what that's like, and show them a couple castles, and maybe the beaches of Normandy again, things like that.
Awesome. Now, Justin, we appreciate you sharing that stuff about your business, the skills, letting people behind the curtain just a little bit. If people have more questions about the video content that you create, some of those other marketing services, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Well, the best way they can get in touch with me is to email me, and they can do that by filling out a form on my website, dialogwith.us. Dialog is spelled without the UE, Dialog. And if they're interested in my content and they want to learn more about how they can do content the easy way, they can follow me on LinkedIn.
Okay, awesome. And we appreciate you coming on today and sharing. We know it's not always easy to let people know about your past and some of those things that you're doing, and we truly do appreciate that. And we always honor our guests by giving them the last word. So please look into the camera and tell the people something good.
If you've been in business for a few years, you know a thing or two about what to say for your content. So I encourage you, don't hold back. Don't hold back the blessing and the joy and the help you can actually give people by not posting, by not sharing. You have good things to say. People need to hear it.
Awesome. Wise words. Thank you so much, Justin. We truly do appreciate you sharing, and thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks, Roderick. Appreciate it.
And to everyone that is watching, be kind and thanks.